everybody. Welcome to the garage. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton is behind the camera holding his cup of tea. What's written on that cup, by the way?
Nova.
Nova. Now, that was a Christmas gift from Nova when I worked for them. Very nice cup. It's a big one.
It is.
Put a lot of tea in that one, I tell you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Now, this is not affectation, I promise you. I explained on Friday the program we did at the dining room table. I shouldn't have done, because the night before, 5 o'clock, 5:30, the night before, I had an eye operation, and I was literally with drops and things, and I really, had my papers and bits and pieces around me, but I couldn't see anything. And it was a bit of a mess Friday, I'm sorry. But we got there, we had some interesting guests and phone calls and things, but I have this funny thing where, you soldier on, you don't get sick, you don't take leave, you don't do, and it's so silly. It's far, far better to only do the show or the program when you're okay to do it. Because people don't accept excuses and whatnot. They just sort of listen and think, oh, there's something wrong there. Anyway, it doesn't much matter. But if you will excuse me, I will wear these because we do have a couple of rather strong lights here for the Facebook posting. Not that you see the strong lights in the podcasts, which go everywhere. You can pick that up wherever you get your favourite podcast from. If you'd like to follow the Court of Public Opinion, I would love you to do that. But it's not affectation. It's just that I can't really see without squinting, and then the tears, doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I hope you're well. I hope you're happy. And I hope you might stay with us and enjoy this segment of the Court of Public Opinion. I don't know where you are. I never do, of course. We're here in Adelaide. It's a beautiful time of the year in South Australia. The Christmas pageant has come and gone. The lighting of the Christmas tree in Victoria Square will be, I guess, our next big event. You see, this is a sort of big village. I know that some people mightn't like me saying that, but I like living in a village. Most people, sensible people, would like living in a village. It's a much nicer place to live than a big city. The weather's wonderful. The street trees look particularly great. They've got all their spring foliage on, and the jacarandas are in flower. Bright, vivid purple. We're very lucky. We've got a few streets where they were prudent years ago, and they planted as a street tree the jacaranda. And when you get an avenue of jacarandas in full flower, they look fantastic. And the only place you'll see better jacarandas, they've got some nice ones in Sydney. You need a bit more humidity than South Australia, but where if ever you get up north coast of New South Wales, up to Grafton, where I started in radio, I had my first gig at 2GF in Grafton, they actually have a jacaranda festival, because all the street trees are jacarandas. And not only do you get this wonderful canopy of purple flowers, but when they drop, and they're only sort of up there, I guess, for a couple of weeks, but when they drop, there's a carpet of purple on every road. And they don't run around sweeping it up, they leave it there because it looks wonderful. Absolutely right. I got an invitation to the release of the new Mini, the Mini and Mini Cooper. They're made by BMW these days. Now, we got this showing even before the motoring writers did. I don't know, I've always thought that the Mini of the 60s, which is when it was born, was just right. Perfect. Designed by a fellow called Alec Isigonis. Sir Alec Isigonis. Full name, Sir Alexander Arnold, no, what was it? Constantine Isigonis. Sir Alexander Arnold Constantine Isigonis. The car was revolutionary. Wonderful design, box-like, but strangely stylish. East-west engine, front-wheel drive. Sir Alec also designed the Morris Minor. I could tell you some stories about the old Morris Minor going back into the 1940s. This was when BMC was around, British Motor Corporation, as it was called back then. They made millions of them, millions. The Morris Minor and the Mini Cooper. And before that, of course, MG, the M in MG, famous brand, now owned, I think, by Indians or Koreans.
Chinese.
Chinese?
Yeah.
Okay. And all electric, I hear. That's another story. The M in MG stood for Morris Garage, which is where the Morris Minor began. Down here, there's a 1949 low-light side valve convertible Morris Minor. Beautiful, beautiful little thing. Wonderful design. But as I say, there are lots of stories I could tell you about Morris Minors. But anyway, this is about the Mini. When you look at the new one, the BMW Mini, I just don't think it's in the same league as the old one. There's a bit of a nod to the old design, but I'm not in love. It'll probably sell very well. Probably it's just that I like living in the 1960s. I don't know. Oh yes, and I almost forgot, they are electric. They are electric. They told me that everything they made, that's BMW, by 2030 will be electric. Sad. I found myself thinking perhaps I'm wrong about electric cars. Could these people, so many, perhaps they're right. They could be right. Then I remembered the referendum, when every big name company and organisation and community leader, the media and their high profile, high paid personalities all said, vote yes. And one could think, how could all of these people get it so wrong? Why did they get it so wrong? Well, they did. Doesn't matter how big and how powerful and how prominent you are, you can still get it wrong. And the electric car thing might just be the same. This fixation with electric cars is about climate change. And whether we are driving electric cars or not, the climate will go right on changing, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. And ahead, of course, with electric cars are all the problems. They won't go away. Batteries that explode, a grid that can't cope, dubious resale value, insurance companies that don't like them, ridiculous cost of repairs. But just like the referendum, no logic, no questioning, no hesitation, no criticism. Electric cars are the answer. Okay. But what was the question? And here we are in Australia, and that's all we're responsible for. Australia, just Australia, not the world. We produce 1% of global emissions. So what is the problem we are trying to fix? And I saw on television just this afternoon before we came down to record, there was a electricity company flogging their services. Zero is the most important number, this woman passionately said, followed by this statement: zero is everything. Now, you may have seen the ad on TV, but nobody asks why. Zero by 2030 or 2050, it could be zero right now, here in Australia, and it would mean absolutely nothing. Nothing we can do now or 2030 or 2050 will change anything environmentally. And that is a fact. Where's the media to ask that very pertinent question, ladies and gentlemen? So we've got to ask ourselves, what are these? I'm speaking generally here, not about this particular company, but what are these promoters of zero really up to? It must be to wreck the economy and destroy the best country in the world. Then, the only other thing you have to ask yourself is, are we going to let them? Are we going to swallow this absolute garbage of pursuing net zero emissions and pretending that we can export coal to India and China, and that they are somehow burning it and putting it up into a completely different atmosphere that we won't have anything to do with? Hey, fellas, there's one atmosphere. One. Your hypocrisy amazes me. A serious new wave of COVID, they tell me, is coming for Christmas. I see more people wearing masks. That's probably pretty good, particularly if you are of an age. Be careful. What else is around? The Qantas AGM, don't know if you heard about that. Shareholder democracy at work. Brilliant. I loved it. I don't think I could wear glasses inside, apart from it looking weird, but it certainly helps. It helps. I couldn't agree more with that shareholder meeting. And they sort of expressed an opinion, which was basically that the board was totally out of touch. They have been told. They kind of said with their first strike, you have let down the company, the shareholders, and not to speak of the travelling public. This first strike, which means, of course, one more strike, and that board is gone. And there are some people on that board, quite frankly, when I look at those names, I don't know. They've got good connections. They somehow have some celebrity connection. I don't know. But what do they know about aviation? I think, frankly, they should get the boot, but they should get it now. Get it now. Time for one more, Pete?
Yeah, sure.
You know, we lost the tax offset This is the tax offset which cost most taxpayers $1,500 a year under this government. They could have continued it, knowing about the cost of living problems, and I understand they don't want a fuel inflation, but it means important on a day-to-day basis, which is the sort of basis upon which most of us live. Make a big difference. $1,500 a year. And we wrestled with the high cost of fuel, and they could easily cut the excise on petrol. Just remember, half of every dollar we spend on fuel goes to the government. No, I think this government has a lot to answer for, and I think they'll have a bit of trouble doing just exactly that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. The things we've said, you may agree, you may disagree, and I welcome all your comments, believe me, I do. Now, if I can squint through one eye. Happy birthday, it's November 6th. Adolphe Sax was born. He invented the saxophone. 1814 he was born. John Bannon was sworn in as Premier of South Australia. I liked John Bannon, he was very good to me. 1982, I liked him.
Can I just say, about John Bannon, I was flying interstate and there he was in economy. Just
Yep.
no pretense
that
about
surprise
it.
me.
Yeah.
No, I think he was a very down-to-earth kind of character. I don't know if I've ever told you the story, but John Bannon and I tried to get the Macquarie network when it came up for sale after Young Warwick and that debacle where Seven was sold to Skase and the Woman's Day was sold to Packer and the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age was sold off to someone else. And here was the Macquarie network, which was the most illustrious radio network in the whole country. And John Bannon and I had this idea that we would buy the Macquarie network, which was at the time 4BH in Brisbane, 2GB in Sydney, 3AW in Melbourne, 5DN in Adelaide, and 6PR in Perth, along with 2CA in Canberra, and this wonderful MaxSat system, which was a satellite system of taking radio around the country. Anyway, we worked out we had $100 million. I know it sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, $100 million. So off I went to Sydney with a couple of lawyers, and we went up to the John Fairfax building where they were holding the auction, because it was basically who bid the most money got the network. We had $100 million. I had a bank, what would you call it? Not guarantee, it was a line of credit.
Yeah.
Line of credit for $100 million on the bank, on Credit Lyonnais, which was a French bank. And we went up to $90 million. And we couldn't go over because we only had 100, and we knew we had at least $10 million in stamp duty. And this fellow from Brisbane, I don't know where he came from or where he subsequently went. I made a pledge in my pitch to buy the network that I would not sell it down. I would not sell one single station, but I would sell some of the real estate. Because they had buildings, CBD, city square buildings, very valuable. Anyway, no sooner had this guy managed to beat me, he bid 110 million, they knew I couldn't match it. Anyway, the bottom line was we lost it. I subsequently got 5DN as the second prize, but No sooner had that bloke bought the network than he was selling it down. He sold every station in Australia to somebody and sold, I think he kept 2GB in Sydney. But we came that close to owning a wonderful, historic, prestigious Macquarie Broadcasting Network. And I have to thank John Bannon for that. We almost made it, John. John's no longer with us, I don't think. Dr. James Naismith was born on this day, 1861. He invented basketball. Golly. What else? P.J. Proby. He was born in St. Mary's Hospital in Houston, Texas. In 1984, reportedly, he was in hiding with his 15-year-old girlfriend, Alison Hardy. Alison's mother denied reports that they had secretly married in Gretna Green on the English and Scotland border. But he was born 1938. I don't know if who used to split his pants, as I remember.
I remember the name, but I just don't remember much about him.
P.J. Proby, yeah. Days of Our Lives started on television as a half-hour show in 1965. Stonewall Jackson was born in Tabor City, North Carolina. Huge hit with Waterloo in 1959. Waterloo, Waterloo, where will you meet your Waterloo? Every puppy has his day, everybody has to pay, everybody has to meet his Waterloo. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Oh dear, these bloody eyes. Peter Tchaikovsky died in 1893. Ronald Reagan is elected President of the United States in 1984. Prince Charles and Princess Diana conclude their visit to Victoria to celebrate their 150th. 1985, that was. John Philip Sousa, born in Washington in 1854, he composed all those wonderful marches, you know, including the Stars and Stripes Forever. What else can I tell you? Oh, Noah was born. How would anyone know when Noah was born? How would anyone know? Let me tell you the date anyway. It was 48 BC. On this day, Noah was born. Happy birthday, Noah. Can anyone tell me Noah's wife's name? We used to have a lot of fun with that on 5DN. Went on for years. Not even a theologian knows what Noah's wife was named. But I guess women were not given any kind of prominence back in the Noah days.
Okay, what was her name?
Oh, we had all sorts of suggestions. Rachel, I can't remember. That's not to diminish her importance, because Noah was important, for God's sake. The ark and all of that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, putting up with my dark glasses. I say again, not affectation. Just a good idea. Believe in yourself. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.